In this video, we take the engine from this to this. We install the engine back into the engine bay and we turn the key. With the fuel rail, it's easier to just connect the pipes and then align it for the support bracket where the bolts connect to the head. We're moving into the valley pan. We are installing the vacuum canister first, and then we are moving to the oil feed pipes for the turbos. Now, when you install the feed pipes, it has a few crush washers that need to be replaced, which I did. And we are moving on to the exhaust manifolds. Now here we used new gaskets and we torqued the bolts to spec. Intake manifold is cleaned and ready to install. As you can see, the fuel rail was in the way, and so it needed to be removed, and the intake can go on and the fuel rail after. Even though I kept that order really well, I still ended up installing these parts in the wrong order. But it's not a problem, not a big deal. We can just remove them really quick, install the intake, and then go ahead and reinstall the fuel rails. Now, on this side, as it turns out, it's not the correct order either, because there is another part that needs to go before both of these two parts, before the intake and before the fuel rail. And so it's gonna come out one more time before we can move forward. Starter is next. But the problem with that is the cable needed to go under the intake manifold, so that means intake manifold out again, fuel rail out again, starter first, then intake manifold, and then fuel rail on this side. Well, you know, you live and learn. This is where you can see the lack of experience, but the only way to get experience is to do this a few times, and so I'm gaining experience right now. Now the vacuum controller needs to be bolted in, and to connect the vacuum hoses back up, I had some pictures from from when I removed it, and I checked them and I could just follow that. The AC compressor needs a little bit of a clean and it can go in. It's just held in place by a few bolts. Now the wire harness is probably the most frightening part of this whole reassembly process, because there are so many wires and it's so scary because you don't know where they're supposed to go, right? But the wires they have a particular length, and if you try them out they won't connect to something else, and the plugs should be different. Where the plugs are the same, the length differs so that you won't connect them in a different position. And so I started from one end and connected everything I could, and then moved to the second head and connected there where I could, and left the rest of them unconnected, because once you get more parts on the engine then you can see where they do connect. Now the turbocharger has to go in, but not before my girlfriend comes and give me a little bit of a instruction on how to do this. She's much more experienced than me, and she just points out a few things, like, you know, what I did good and what I did wrong. She's inspecting the process, and then I can continue along with this reassembly. I've also connected the water pump and some of the hoses, the belt back on, and now we have to go and connect the intercoolers. This is a lot easier to do with the engine out. You don't have much space once the engine is on the car, but apparently you can install the engine with the intercoolers on and it's not gonna create too much problems. On the back of the engine we have to install the heat shields first, and then we can install the catalytic converters. These catalytic converters were purchased secondhand. I hope they are good to go. They don't seem bad in any way, but I don't know. We'll see once the engine is running if we get any codes from these. Also, the O2 sensors need to be connected. There is a special tool for the O2 sensors which I don't have, but I'm just gonna tighten them as I can, and I will do that once the tool arrives because I already ordered one. Now this is how the engine looks completely reassembled. I'm really happy with the progress. As you can see, there is a lot more things on it than it was before. We still left the spark plugs out so that when we turn the engine for the first time, it doesn't start. We want to build oil pressure everywhere and then we can start the engine. The engine bay needs to be cleaned, so the car needs to be dragged out. As you can see, I attached a strap to hold the gearbox in place. This way I can drag the car out and clean the engine bay. It is really dirty, and a good clean is a must in this case. Today I didn't struggle very much pulling the car out because my girl was here to help me with that, and so I was just steering the car and she was driving the X3. So now we are gonna foam all of this, and hopefully it's gonna look a lot better than it did before. Here we have a before and after shot. I say that this came out a lot better than I was expecting it to be, but it's unfortunate that this won't be visible once the engine is in, but I will feel a lot better knowing that this has been done. So it's time for the car to go back in and we can start the installation of the engine. Now we were both dreaming about driving it, even though the engine was in front of us, not in the engine bay, but it feels like we are getting closer and closer to driving it. Well, let's stop dreaming and get this engine in. Completely reassembled, apart from like minor things like spark plugs and coils. There are like a lot more parts on it, like compared to what I had when I took it out. Like the catalytic converters were not even there, so that made it probably easier to remove. Then the intercoolers, the throttle bodies were taken out, but doing some more research online, I saw people do take the engine complete like this out and they put it back in like this, and it should not affect very much. Plus, if you needed to move it like this out of the gearbox to move it forward, so then you can pull it out because of the torque converter. But now since the converter goes in to the gearbox, then it's just like probably like this much movement you need in order to reassemble the two together. So I think we're okay with all of this assembled as I did, and it's much easier to assemble everything when it's on the stand compared to when it's in the car. Now the engine bay got cleaned, it's prepped and ready for the engine. At this point there isn't much that needs to be connected back, like the main harness and stuff like this, but the AC lines, not very much, because most of the parts are already on the engine, and this makes it seem a lot easier than what I did in the past with another engine, because I only done this one more time with a 4-cylinder engine, and so to be able to do this was a big challenge for me. It's a complicated mess with the wiring and the hoses, as you can probably tell. This was not easy to put back together, but I'm confident that I got it back where it needs to be, and I really hope that this engine is going to run, and it's going to run very well. It's Frankensteined together out of two bad engines, and I'm hoping that I can inspire others to do the same instead of throwing parts away and buy other parts. Like, why would you do that when you can like salvage parts from broken engines? People just throw them away because they think they're no good, but in this case, that broken engine might have saved me a lot of money. So we don't know, but I am like really confident that this is gonna work, and the way that everything went together makes me feel that confident. Now we'll see. We will have to drop it in and turn the key on it, and then we'll talk about if this actually saved me money or not. Okay, torque converter is in, so it will make it a lot easier to put the engine in. But just as a reference, in case you're wondering, that's kind of where the level needs to be. Like, everything needs to be at a level. That's when you know it's completely seated in, because if it's not, then it's gonna give you a lot of pain trying to fit the engine to it. It's simply not gonna work, and you can break stuff in there, like the actual hydraulic pump in the gearbox. So that went in good. Next, let's crane this engine up. Just to show you how close everything is, like, look at that, like, that's how close that goes. and this throttle body as well, like that. And everything is completely to the limit. I mean, just a little bit of space. Now, since the engine is connected to the gearbox, I can go ahead and turn the engine and connect the torque converter to the flywheel. On top, we have to connect all the connectors. I'm bringing in the ECU, connect all those wires in there, make sure the cover is back on so the water doesn't get in, and of course the rest of the parts need to be connected, and then we can put some oil in and go ahead and turn the key. Since now the oil pressure has built up, we can go ahead and install the spark plugs, and we can connect the fuse for the fuel pump, and we can go ahead and try to start it. And yes, the engine runs. It doesn't run very well, but that's expected. Let's connect the OBD reader and let's see what this engine is complaining about. As you can see here, there's a lot of error codes, but these are just because everything was disconnected. We are clearing all of that, and now we can actually see what stays. The first error is charge pressure control switch off, and as it turns out, that's something that I will sort out later. I've switched one of the connectors, just one out of all of those connectors got switched, and once I plug that into the right spot, everything is good on that. But it's still misfiring, and we will deal with that later. For now, as you can see here, I tried to drive it, but that's as far as I was able to get, just a little bit out of the garage. and yeah, there was a big problem. The oil is pouring out really fast. Like, that's a big puddle already. Yeah, so that it's a big fail. That's just not good, but like, what did you expect, you know?
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now.